Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Coin Lady channel. The United States has vacated the crypto market, and many other countries are eager to fill the void it has created. Another reason why the current regulatory climate is unfavorable to future innovation is that other countries are saying things like, hey, we'd like that business over here, we'd like to be like the US was with the internet. Let's be open and welcoming to attract the businesses of the future to our area of responsibility. Additionally, we believe that the current domestic crypto industry is being stunted by the regulatory climate. The real shame is that we aren't even requesting complete freedom of action. We want to operate in accordance with the rules, so please lay them out for us. And that's the point that most people overlook. Non-cryptographers often misinterpret our requests for exceptions or broad powers in this area. In this Wild West atmosphere, we don't think that's reasonable. We're just asking for some ground rules to follow to ensure our safety as we establish these companies. They are extending an open hand to other nations. They are laying out the ground rules. This is all that is required. It's very reminiscent of the World Wide Web. They did the groundwork so that future entrepreneurs could go on to create Googles and Facebooks and other megacorporations. Just that is what we seek. Coinbase is actively exploring opportunities abroad at the moment. They, like the rest of us, are struggling to make ends meet in the United States. As a result, they plan to expand their operations internationally. That's a huge opening for other industries and countries. And eventually, the United States will catch up. But it's really hard to do that right now. Stablecoins and DeFi issues were discussed in an unannounced and private meeting at the United States Treasury. They must be planning something extremely harsh. The meeting was called by U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, and it appears that potential regulatory actions, policies, and risks were evaluated. And if you ask me, the banking system and the conventional financial system are where the problems lie. The problem is that we anticipate volatility in the crypto space when we first enter it. You shouldn't have to worry about your money being safe in a bank, but we all know that's not the case. We live in a world where a lot of things are up in the air. Again, they will overcome it, as they always do. Now, as we wait for the conclusion of this long-running, hard-fought court case, is a really interesting time for XRP investors for the entire space. We're almost there. A choice needs to be made soon, you know. Both A and B point to the fact that the president of Crypto Ripple is completely at ease when discussing Brad Garlinghouse. Only problem is, he's the head of the company. He's no longer the head of state. He no longer occupies that position. But the company's legal position is sound, according to CEO Brad Garlinghouse. How else could you be so consistently persuasive? Not a single pressing problem comes to mind. It was a victory for the SEC. This, however, is not a guarantee of success. In the end, we'll have to hear the judge's decision for ourselves. But you're not exactly firing from a weak position, in my opinion. There is a lot happening right now on the XRP blockchain, and it all points to the currency's value rising rapidly. And I think two things will determine that a great deal. First and foremost, you can anticipate that price to rip if the outcome of this court case is favorable. Second, the overall state of cryptocurrency, such as the multiplicative effect of a positive outcome with the SEC and a continuation of the industry's upward trend. It remains to be seen how things develop. Who knows what the future of crypto will be like, or when that ruling will be issued, but it seems like we're getting close. Some people are worried about the safety of ADA, but the efforts to scale Cardano are promising. That's why I keep telling you, we've seen time and time again that a lot of the things I'd say about Cardano in the past were justified, were true. However, we apparently did not observe anything. The team's ability to solve problems, create a promising future, and stay on course was evident. So, in my opinion, that shouldn't be a problem. Cardano is developing scalable solutions like Hydra, but there is still a long way to go in the blockchain space as a whole. We have not yet reached that, ultimate aim. However, I believe the Cardano team will be the ones to do it properly and securely. Nasdaq plans to introduce cryptocurrency custody by the end of the second quarter. We are thus witnessing an uptick in fidelity. More conventional participants are expected to join. Nasdaq is looking into entering the cryptocurrency space and plans to launch new services, including custody services, by the second quarter of 2023. In other words, disregard. It's a bunch of nonsense. A prohibition is planned. It will soon be illegal in the USA. The opposite, in fact. All these fly-by-night crypto companies are trying to disappear so that your big players can take over. That seems to be the goal around here. Therefore, Nasdaq is collaborating with numerous large banks to provide cryptocurrency custody. This means they are about to launch. Bitcoin and Ethereum will be the first two premium cryptocurrencies included, but many more will be added later. That's how things will be in the near future. This problem won't go away. Don't believe all the press. This next piece of news from CoinDesk will blow your mind. One of the Three Arrows Capital clowns apparently has plans to open a cryptocurrency exchange with a focus on insolvency and related crypto issues. And they should know this because they are responsible for or complicit in many crypto companies going bankrupt. I just don't see how anyone could support their mission by giving them money or using their platform. Amazingly, it appears that this is gaining support in this area. Maybe not. Bitcoin's environmental impact has been depicted in art by Greenpeace's critics. Also, I find it hard to get behind things that have a ripple effect like this. And that's not to downplay the significance of ecological concerns or the value of a nimble, quick network. I'm only speculating on their intentions. They're always making these tangled arguments about Bitcoin, like just change the code, to discredit it. What we're witnessing is merely anti-Bitcoin rhetoric. Bitcoin Meltdown is a new work of art that draws attention to the negative effects that Bitcoin mining has on the environment. And Greenpeace uses that art to get people thinking about how much energy they use. The mining industry is here to stay. It won't be criminalized anytime soon. There are no plans to outlaw it. The bright side is that using renewable energy will soon be mandatory for most jobs, especially in the West. You'll need wind and solar power if you plan on going public and raising money from investors. I'm also aware of the counter-argument. People will argue that you could put that energy to better use elsewhere. Bitcoin miners, however, are not going to invest in such a system for any other purpose. Since you will be unable to function in any other way, the fact that a lot of money is flowing into renewables is good news for expanding that industry. Kathy Wood has done the calculations. Many conflicting accounts have reached me. Even though, yes, we're seeing a lot of energy consumption once again, regardless of anyone's opinion, it may end up being good for the environment overall. I'm not a big fan of Greenpeace's Bitcoin bashing efforts. SEC has essentially issued warnings to those who would put their money into cryptocurrencies. The Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) cautions investors to exercise extreme caution before purchasing cryptocurrency. They aren't letting on which ones they are now. The main one is that the SEC claims they want to protect investors from loss, and this highlights the risk potential for fraud in the sector. This is the deal. The best way to keep us safe is to tell us which cryptocurrencies are legal and which ones the SEC won't try to shut down if we decide to invest in them. That's exactly what we're hoping to hear from them. Not to micromanage us or tell us what to do, but to lay out the ground rules so we can make informed financial decisions. When I make a stock purchase at Charles Schwab, for example, the last thing I think is, I wonder if this Tesla stock is actually registered. Perhaps by tomorrow it will be outlawed. That's ridiculous. The same principle ought to apply to cryptocurrency. If it is listed on a US exchange, then we can assume it is legal. Major issue. They'll be of great assistance to us. We don't want any of their advice. We need either explicit guidance on which cryptocurrency complies with the law or a framework within which to make that determination on our own. When I first read the next story, I couldn't help but chuckle. Microsoft has warned that it may limit the access of competing AI search tools to Bing data. And if you went back in time, you wouldn't have to worry about limiting anyone's freedom. Nobody ever uses Bing. It's difficult to predict a victor as the competition among these AI tools heats up. We'll have to wait and see how Microsoft plans to incorporate its current amazing offerings into Bing. But this reminds me of something else. Elon Musk had a hand in naming OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT OpenAI. The point was to benefit Microsoft, but rather to provide accessible resources for everyone. Naturally, Microsoft has snatched it up. We can expect them to use it for their own advancement, benefiting themselves rather than society as a whole. It's unsettling to read about this. It packs a punch. But once again, when it's controlled by just a few companies, chaos can ensue. This is what we are witnessing, after all. Once again, Microsoft is taking the initiative to limit access to this information and these resources by their competitors. Do Kwon, Lindsay Lohan, and countless others are keeping us entertained. There have been numerous SEC lawsuits recently. Many orders to enforce are being issued. Wells' notice delivered to Coinbase. And unrest is an absolute certainty. As investors, we want a regulated market in the United States, and I believe this is just the process speeding up. Please don't think that I'm referring to crypto nerds. That's bad news for regulators who are trying to figure out how to use crypto for their own purposes. But this is what you expect to see if you're an investor. From where I sit, the temperature is only going up. You can expect a flood of lawsuits, but I'm confident that we'll emerge from this with well-defined rules and regulations that will facilitate our continued expansion. Bitcoin, exchange-traded funds, and alternative cryptocurrency projects that are registered and report their progress will all benefit from this. It's all a part of the fun, though. Realize the dangers we're up against. In the short term, having a lawsuit filed against your cryptocurrency or project can be devastating, but in the long run, it can prove beneficial. The last thing I've seen is a discussion about whether or not artificial intelligence AI or cryptocurrency has greater potential. Which one will gain popularity first? I don't think it's necessary to play this or that game. They are equally fascinating forms of technology. There is a natural compatibility between blockchain and AI. It's completely self-sufficient. The machine requires no maintenance for an entire year. Future progress will be greatly aided by things like these that build off one another. Artificial intelligence AI, blockchain technology blockchain, and the World Wide Web Web3 are all separate entities with their own potential, but they will eventually merge into a single entity known as the metaverse. Even though silly VR headsets are a part of the experience, this has nothing to do with them. Naturally, we're talking about organizations and economies that are digital in every way. Binance is an example of a company that sells an entirely digital product and conducts all of its business on the internet. It's a huge business, but it has nothing to do with any specific country or territory. So, we're talking about serious business? And you can bet that we'll have to figure out taxation and who owns the space in the long run, because eventually it will dwarf the current economy. Yes, the future lies with us. Again, there is no side versus the other. They complement each other well and contribute to each other's development. If you had asked me that question even 2 or 3 years ago, I would have said that blockchain technology would be widely adopted long before I would. Well, at this time we just don't know. Both seem to be operating at full capacity. A number of AI-related resources have recently been made available. Which one starts first doesn't seem to matter. Once again, they will both drastically alter the status quo. Both of these things are crucial. The importance of having money that is both secure and efficient cannot be overstated. That could be the greatest challenge any generation faces. Never been anything like it. At this very moment, it is being resolved. You should focus on every detail. Future companies will be built on these cutting-edge innovations. Many people will be swept up in the world's rapid acceleration. It's all over today. Please like and subscribe my channel. See you later, bye.